Welcome to the Quickstart tutorial for the AI Game Development Toolkit. This software is a collaboration between Intel and Procedural Worlds that lowers the barriers of entry for any developer that wants to take first steps in developing artificial intelligence solutions in the Unity ecosystem. I would like to start with a few words about what you can expect when you download this toolkit. If you are a developer with little to no experience of the Unity engine, it can be challenging to learn the Unity fundamentals before even starting to learn the AI development itself. You would need to learn how to control player and camera movement and how to build a game world to test your AI program in. Especially outdoor environments can be difficult to design and run efficiently without having an additional tool at hand. This is where we provide you with Gaia ML. Gaia ML, the ML stands for Machine Learning, is a reduced and free version of our award-winning world generation software for Unity. With Gaia, you can create a complex landscape complete with water, player setup and lighting in just a few clicks. The second large hurdle would be to create the fundamental setup for your AI programming. For example, you would need to learn how you can use Unity's camera as an input for your program, how to access AI inference engines such as OpenVINO or Barracuda, how to load model data into your solution, and so on. Here we have added a few sample AI programs that you can add to your scene with the click of a button, that will give you a head start into the world of interactive AI development. If you want to develop your own AI solutions following that, you can use the foundation we built as a framework to create your own AI programs without doing all the boilerplate work of setting up a system where you can start and stop these programs in a Unity scene, control the parameters during runtime, and so on. The toolkit comes in two different versions. A bundled version together with Gaia ML that you can download from the Canopy website, and a standalone version with just the AI Inference code. Canopy is the community development website of Procedural Worlds that allows you to discuss our tools and all things Unity development in our forum, but also contains in-depth documentation, tutorial videos, and bonus content for our subscribers. Registration for downloading the AI toolkit bundle is free. If you are less interested in the world creation part, you can get the AI toolkit from the Intel GitHub repository as well. You can clone the toolkit folder from the repository and add it into your asset folder. If you already own a different Gaia version, it is also possible to install the toolkit alongside your existing Gaia install. This leads us to our next point. To install the bundled toolkit you downloaded from Canopy, you would simply need to decompress the Unity package from the zip file you downloaded and open it inside your Unity editor via Assets, Import Package, Custom Package. Then you can import the contents of your package. When you first open up Gaia, there is an initial setup process that you will be guided through. You can find more information about the Gaia setup process in the Quickstart guide in the documentation folder of your Gaia installation. When using the version from the Intel repository, you can just put the AI GameDev Toolkit folder from GitHub into your project. Please make sure to fully clone the project from Git. There are larger binary files inside the repository that will not be added in the zip download option correctly. You can then copy the toolkit folder inside the assets folder of your project, and you are done. If you have a Gaia version higher than 3.2.0 installed in your project, it will recognize the toolkit automatically and offer the same integration as if you would use the bundled version. Regardless of the version you chose, there are two more steps you should perform to get the most out of the toolkit. First, activate the setting for Allow Unsafe Code in your player settings. This setting is required to run the inference samples created with OpenVINO, as it allows for quicker processing of the input data. Next, you should install the Unity Barracuda package if you want to use the Barracuda inference sample. To do so, you can simply go to the package manager, select Add Package from Git URL, and enter com.unity.barracuda, and the correct package will be installed. When that package is installed, you are ready to create your first world with Gaia ML. There are many things you can do with Gaia, and you can find more detailed tutorial videos on how to create a world on Canopy or on our YouTube channel. For the sake of a Quickstart video, we will only show the fastest way to create a world. Open the Gaia Manager and leave all the settings as they are per default, and click on the Create World Designer button. This will open up the World Designer, a tool that allows you to generate a terrain shape. In the World Designer you can click Randomize All a few times until you see a terrain shape that you like, and then you can click Generate World to create the actual terrain from that. Next you can click Spawn Biome to populate the terrain shape with trees, grass and additional assets. We can zoom in a little to take a better look at what we created here. And all that is left for us to do in terms of world creation is to create the runtime setup from the Gaia Manager. This will add a player setup, water and lighting to the scene. This is how quickly you can generate test environments for your AI developments with Gaia ML. Please note that the art on the terrain is just sample content. It is completely possible to spawn your own textures, objects and vegetation items on the terrain by customizing the Gaia spawners. With our generated world in place, it is time to add some of the sample AI inference programs. Thanks to the AI GameDev Toolkit, this can be done just as easily as the previous steps in the world generation process. If the toolkit is installed in your project, Gaia will display an extra tab called Add Inference in the Gaia Manager, which allows you to set up AI inferences in your scene. You can simply select the available inferences from the list and click the Apply Now button. This added an Inference Manager object to the scene that will run the AI program when the scene is running. Note that there are advanced options for all inferences available in the Gaia Manager. These options will be applied to the Inference Manager in the scene as well. These settings are always in sync with each other and will be remembered as well the next time you use this feature. When you now run the scene, you can see the style transfer program that we just selected before in action. With just a few clicks we got a program running on top of the Gaia scene, which will take the input of the game camera and will transfer it into a different style based on artificial intelligence. If you wanted to run this program on a different terrain, you could easily do so by creating a new scene with Gaia and applying the inference again. If you want to build your scene with added inference, note that some of the examples are dependent on model data. Those inferences do have a button in the options to copy the model data in the Streaming Assets folder. This is required so this model data is included in the build and can be read from there during runtime. To prepare the model data for the build, simply click the button and the model data will be copied over in the Streaming Assets folder. If these examples made you hungry for implementing your own AI inferences, please note that the mechanisms that you can see here can be used as a blueprint for adding your own AI programs in here just the same way as these example implementations do. It is possible to have them show up in the Gaia Manager as well and use the same logic for storing and applying settings during runtime. To learn more, go to the documentation page for the toolkit on Canopy, which you can access via the Help button. This page has more documentation about the toolkit and more information about how to get started with developing your own inferences. Please also visit the Intel project page to learn more about AI development with OpenVINO itself. Thanks for watching and happy development!